On this episode of Fine Motor Activities, I am going to use a few different things that are common to my household, but again, maybe some of these things are common to my household because I am a teacher. And so the things that I'm going to use tonight are thumbtacks or push pins. I've got a couple of different sizes, not very many of the big sizes. I've got some rubber bands, some ribbon. Whoops, got ribbon. I only grabbed one button. I probably should have grabbed a couple more. The lid off of a box. This particular one is off of photocopy paper. I have a printer at home. So anybody who has a printer, you might buy paper in bulk like I do. And then I have some 6-sided dice. Okay. And so on this episode, what we're going to do is kind of make a game out of it. So the fine motor of being able to hold a die in your hand and balance it and roll the die back and forth so that you can get a good roll. A lot of times when I would work with students, they would just hold it and drop it. And I don't really know the if it changes, whether you drop it or if you shake it and drop it. But that's a nice fine motor activity, is to just, learning how to have my hand cupped a little bit versus like this, it's going to fall off. And so, having that little bit of a cup type setting in your hand and then rolling the dice. And you could just do this. You could just practice this, and then you could do it in your other hand. And so, so what I would do is I would either, and it's up to you how many you want to choose. If you want to choose one or two, and I would roll the dice. And so the dice came up. So on this particular set, it's dots. Okay. And this is a good counting exercise. Being able to see these dots in this formation and know that it's the number 5 quickly is a good skill to learn. But if they don't know that, then you can certainly have them teach them how to count the dots. So I got a 5. So then what I am planning on doing is taking my box lid, and anywhere on the box, I can do it on the, what I call the outside, one of the sides, or what I call the inside, is I would then stick, I would stick 5 push pins in there. And for me, this isn't very difficult, but for some students, this might be quite difficult. And so that's why you might not want to use 2 die. You may only want to use 1. If it's an easier thing that your student is able to count quickly to 12, then you can go ahead and use both die. So let's see, that's 4. And, you can't see it. My apologies. So that's 4. And then you can put in a 5th one. Okay. And then what I would sometimes like to do, it's another type of fine motor thing, is you can do this just by itself. You can work on finger strength using rubber bands. Different thicknesses of rubber bands will give you different tension. And so then what you could have your student do is take the rubber band and make sure that they put it around every push pin or every thumbtack. And you keep doing that. You can keep doing that until you form a design, or until you fill up the whole space that you're doing the push pins on. Something else is you could take, like I said, I just happen to have this ribbon. So we could put that on the side of the box. And again, we could roll a die. And it's just going to give a little bit more pressure. So I roll the die, I get a 4 that time. There's the pattern of the 4. And so you could, again, it's going to take a little bit more pressure to get through the ribbon and the box. And, so again, you just want to put 4 push pins on here and watch your fingers when you do it on that side. And you could do this with, the dominant hand, and then you could do it with the not dominant hand. And we'll put one more here for the 4th one. And then again, I'm just going to grab a rubber band, and you can see that these 4 went more in a straight line. So it isn't going to be as difficult, but you could then, have the child change up how they're going to put the rubber bands on there. Maybe they do it this way. Sorry, I keep getting out of the frame here. So there's different things that you can do. Just kind of use your imagination, or just let your child put them on there, and tell your child that you want the rubber band to go around all of the thumb push pins that you put on there and see what they come up with. This can be a creative activity. It doesn't have to be set. And then again, the different size push pins might give a different bit of resistance. They're a little easier to hold, these bigger ones, than some of these smaller ones. And then what I was doing with the button is, and this required, I don't know if you can see the little holes. This is going to require some precise type of lining up. And it's hard for me to do this and get my, again, I'm trying to do this with my dominant. So for this one, I'm going to use the bigger push pin because not only is the base bigger, but the pin itself is bigger. And so I would line that up, and I don't know if I want to be able to, I'm going to do it on this side because I can hold it easier. So then I would line up the button and then go through one of the buttonholes and push. And if you have a bunch of buttons at home and a bunch of push pins, you can make all kinds of designs this way. So if you have old cardboard, if you have old styrofoam, any of those types of surfaces will work. Any surface that you don't care if it gets a bunch of holes in it, I wouldn't suggest doing it on a wall. But if you have a wall that you're going to tear down soon, or you're going to cover it up in some way, that's going to give you a whole lot more needed pressure in order to get that push pin in there. Thank you so much for joining me. I am Shelly Kino. I am an education consultant, master IEP coach. I'm a special education teacher for over 2 decades, and I had a lot of students who had occupational therapy needs. And so coming up with all different ways to strengthen those fine motor abilities, I always found very enjoyable. And so I just want to share them with you. If you have any tips or not tips, if you have any questions or suggestions, please drop them in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, and like this and share it if you have it on Facebook. Have a great night.